Hey everybody, it's me, Remy, the comic book poser, and I'm here today to welcome you to Enter the Poserverse. It's Monday. You know what that means. If you paid attention to my Twitter, Instagram, you saw I read an F-ton of books this week. So it's time to figure out what my top 5-ish books are of last week's New Comic Book Day. That way, if you missed them, you can pick them up on this week's New Comic Book Day. To find out what they are, you'll have to check it out after this.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Before we talk about the books this week, remember, last week on Thursday or Friday, I issued a challenge for my 750 subscriber giveaway. Once we get to 750 subscribers, no matter what, I am giving away a copy of this Hotel Number 1 in a 9.2. And if we get to 750 subscribers by the 16th of February, the day that I have a whole bunch of surgery done, then I'll give both of these away. You'll see the video pop up here at the top. The link is been shared all over the place. Thank you to everybody who's sharing the video out. So yeah, hopefully we make the goal. This week was a really, really good week of books. I heard a lot of people complaining about some of the stuff they didn't like, and as I was kind of digging into what they read and what I read, we're not reading a lot of the same things. So I was real happy to dive in. So I went with a top 5 and an honorable mention, and I think my honorable mention this week might surprise you, because the first book in this series was hands down my pick of the week. So your honorable mention this week is The Other History of the DC Universe. It's by John Ridley, Giuseppe Camuncoli, Andrea Cucci, and Jose Villarreal. This tells, again, the story of how black superheroes are cast to the side. It tells you the story of, I think it's the Guardian and Bumblebee, in terms of their relationship with the Teen Titans, how at times they were treated just like the token hero, at times they were cast to the side, and then like they just constantly got the shaft. I still think this angle of storytelling is brilliant. The one thing that just really kind of messed with my head was the back and forth, like one page is being told from the perspective of the man, the other page is told by the perspective of the woman. And I think, given how disruptive and chaotic my life is, right, the moment a kid bothers me, the moment I have to answer an email from work and I get disrupted, right, and I try and pick up where I was, I just kind of got a little lost. That being said, both of these stories in isolation are really, really cool. I really like the ending about this in terms of kind of a broader reflection on the superhero lifestyle and the different choices you can make throughout your career and what repercussions it may have for you on a personal level. So, still a very brilliant book. I'm still going to pull the rest of the series. I'm still going to try and grab all of the covers for this one and binge and not be responsible. But just slightly liked it slightly less than number one. Coming in at number 5 for Mad Cave Studios, Stargazer number 5. Whoops. God dang. I'm having all kinds of problems today. Stargazer number 5. It is by Anthony Cleveland, Antonio Fuso, Stefano Simeone, and Justin Birch on letters. This is the next to last issue of Stargazer, and this series is, like I've said every time I talk about it, been just a wild ride to figure out everything that's happening. That, you know, our band of friends are kind of reunited in search for the younger brother, and then all of a sudden they find their destination and they have to walk through like a tear in like reality or a tear in the space-time continuum, and that's where they find Kenny. But Kenny is still a child, right? That Kenny is still the same Kenny that these young women remember from their childhood. We start to do some, you know, digging in terms of the relationship between these beings that have contacted everybody and Kenny. What exactly is going on with this hive mind that I've loved this series from the start. There have been a lot of kind of great things to disorient you in terms of the quest for the truth, as you get little bits of breadcrumbs throughout in terms of helping you maybe understand what's going on more and more. But in issue number 5, it is very, very clear as to what's been happening the entire story arc. It's clear in terms of dealing with, you know, maybe what might happen in the last book, what kind of notion of sacrifice there may be. Regardless, book 6 I know is probably going to make me cry because I've been crying in every goddamn series ending lately. And that's something that I'm very, very okay with. Coming in at number 4, also from Mad Cave Studios, is Villainous number 4 from Stoney Williams, Jeff Szynski, Joanna LaFuente, and Mad Cave Studios Letter of the Year, right? Remember the ba-doo and the confetti that I learned how to animate in there? Justin Birch. This book, the stakes are raised between the coalition of superheroes and the Shadow Order. We actually see FBI agents kind of show up at the coalition's office while Tilly and her partner are staking the building out, and then they decide that they're going to have to kind of hunt somebody down for some more information to figure out what's going on, right? There's still kind of the moral quandary as to, are the coalition of superheroes still in the right because even though they assassinated somebody, is it one of those things that sometimes you gotta break an egg to make an omelet? Or is the Shadow Order right that they're just being demonized for all of the chaos in the world? And, right, that all of these actions of evil are actually done by the good side. I want to shout out the cover again, that all of these covers have been wraparounds, and they've all been glorious, right? So there's just another example of a beautiful, beautiful wraparound cover that makes me excited to read it. There is an event at the end that kind of shifts the balance of power a little bit, and I'm not going to spoil it one way or the other, because I really think everybody should be reading Villainous. This book is amazing. Just like you got a double dose of Mad Cave Studios, you're about to get a double dose of somebody else, because coming in at number 3 from Boom Studios is Something is Killing the Children, number 14, by James Tynion IV, Werther Dell'Edera, and Miquel Muerto. I will also say that my frame finally came in, and you'll see a better picture of it on Instagram. But there is the dope original drawing of Erica Slaughter that you saw me unbox many moons ago, that is done by Dell'Edera. And again, an infinite number of thank yous to Bruce and Stephanie, because that was a glorious giveaway. And like I said, you want that drawn, you have to pry it from cold, dead hands. So far, nothing has worked in Archer's Peak, right? That the brood keeps getting stronger, the disagreements between Erica and the rest of the House Slaughter, the disagreements between the law enforcement and the House Slaughter, and even Erica and the people that she is working with in terms of James and the other person whose name is escaping my head right now, that there's a constant disagreement on tactics. We finally get to see what comes out, or why the stuffed octopus thing is significant. And it's wild, because when you find out the connection that individuals have to the creation of monsters, it all starts to make sense. But what becomes very interesting is how Erica tries to get the brood to arrive. That she goes through an exercise with James that is something that she did essentially when she was trained to become a monster hunter, right? That there's this meditative exercise to bring that first moment of willing a monster into existence, so she can attempt to take them on. And we see that this is the middle of the book, and I'm holding back from you being able to see any of the speech bubbles so I don't spoil it. But everything that we are getting in here in terms of what's Erica gonna do to finally take down the brood so now nothing is killing the children. What is the House Slaughter gonna try and do in terms of damage control, right, to stop information from fleeing the town? Like, what's gonna happen? We maybe get little hints in terms of how someone may be attempting to disrupt one or both groups' plans. And I'm thinking we're going to get that answer in book 15, which is going to be the end of the arc, and then we get a little bit of a break. But this has probably been my favorite book in the series since like book number 1 or 2, that there was a lot of heart-pounding moments of action. Hey, buddy. A chair. But lots of heart-pounding moments of action, lots of thinking in terms of what may happen in the future, and maybe we finally have a little bit of a sense of hope that the actors who are at play are about to do something good to create changes. Coming in at number 2 and giving you a double dose of Tynion is Department of Truth number 5 by James Tynion IV, with art by Martin Simmons and colors by Aditya Bidikar. Again, this hands down probably my favorite issue of the story arc so far, because here we find out what the significance is of the Black Hat, right? We have the issue with the school shootings and the false flag. We find like a Black Hat appear, and our new agent is trying to figure out what is going on. But he is now meeting with the leader of the Black Hat, and there's just this great philosophical kind of discussion between, right, should I get to believe what I think is rational truth, right, that can be verified through evidence? Or if I believe in things like conspiracy theories, if I believe in things like QAnon, right, do I have that equal right to use that as my lens which controls how I look at the world? And, there is a good question if the Black Hat is as bad at creating crises as the Department of Truth is creating propaganda by simply pushing out things that they don't want people to believe. My kids are having a good time in the basement. But just a lot of awesome things at play here. We finally get a taste of reptilians, because that's my favorite conspiracy theory, the reptilian Illuminati version. But just so many wild things happen in here. Again, the art is on point for all of the reasons that I love. The narrative in terms of, who is right, who is wrong, in terms of controlling what people believe, I think is a important philosophical conversation, because we all look at the world through different lenses, and it becomes a question of who provides the information for those lenses that really makes us comprehend what we think is true versus what we think is not true. So, phenomenal issue. Thought it was going to be my book of the week, and then I read this one. It's been a while since Marvel's made it to the top of the charts, but coming in at number 1 is Daredevil number 26 by Chip Zdarsky, Marco Cicchetto, Mike Hawthorne, Adrian Di Benedetto, and Mauricio Menes. It's an interesting issue because we get to see, right, the Elektra Daredevil. That was the big reveal in issue number 25. It's not a spoiler because the second printing is her on the cover, so cat's out of the bag on that one. But you get to see Elektra be Elektra, but then hold back with some degree of self-restraint, because she is attempting to live by Daredevil's, moral code, right? That she's not going to murder people in Hell's Kitchen, that she's going to turn them over to the authorities, right, that she's going to do everything she can within the scope of the law, while the law is still kind of going after, you know, those who doff the horns. At the same time, you're seeing Murdoch in prison in his sweet orange Daredevil jumpsuit, which I still think that's a cool prison accommodation. Kind of adjusting to prison life, right? He's got this notion that he has a sentence that he has to fulfill, that he will be there for 2 years, that people are eyeing him and creeped out by him, and, you know, another inmate is kind of telling him what to do to survive, and it's a question of can he play by the rules. The other reason why this book is the top of my list is that this is what a tie-in book should look like. Any other series that has been ongoing that has a King in Black like tie-in or a small 2 or 3 issue arc, it disrupts the storyline in its entirety, and you have to remember what was happening when the event tie-in is over to be like, oh shit, we're still on that story. This one is brilliant because it takes the ongoing story elements in terms of the Elektra Devil, Daredevil in prison, Kingpin kind of struggling for control and power again, and then all of a sudden, the King in Black event kind of invades New York, that the Null symbiotes take control of some of the Daredevil, characters in the universe, and it becomes someone that they're going to have to fight in the same lens as, like, will Elektra operate like this? Can Daredevil be useful in prison to take out some of the symbiotes and that kind of stuff? And I think the way that they are able to still tell the story of Daredevil without being fully derailed by Null showing up is something that I really, really, really like a lot. And this is what, like I said, crossover books, event books, tie-in books should look like to me in the future. And it's yet another reason why, Chip Zdarsky is the top of the pile for me. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Are there any books you want to talk? Any books you want to talk about? Any books you disagree with? That's fine. We'll have that conversation. Don't forget, 750 subs. Someone's going to win one of these. If we hit it by the 16th, both of them are in play. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.